Hi there, in this video I want to talk about how Medicaid in Florida treats lump sum payments from Social Security or lump sum payments from the IRS in the form of a tax refund. And generally speaking, when you receive a lump sum from any government agency, you weren't expecting it and it's the cause for celebration. But for my clients who are on Medicaid, especially Medicaid that's helping to cover the cost of long-term care at home or in a facility, it can cause a lot of stress because these clients know that they have to spend one day every month at or below $2,000, and if they receive a significant lump sum, they have to figure out what they're going to do with that money, generally speaking. However, there are some really good exceptions that you need to know about in the case of a Social Security payment or a tax refund from the IRS that don't apply to any other source of lump sum payments, meaning if you sell a home, if you get a personal injury settlement, if you get an inheritance, we have to do some real planning. But if the lump sum is limited to an SSI lump sum, an SSDI lump sum, or a tax refund, we have some exceptional rules that apply. So first of all, let's talk about the context in which you might be receiving this money. So generally speaking, if you're applying for either of the two Social Security disability programs, that's SSI, Supplemental Security Income, or SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, then if there's a delay in the processing of the application, or more often than not, you're working with someone to appeal a denial, what'll happen is if you win the appeal, if you're ultimately approved for either of these Social Security disability benefits, the government will retroactively pay you for the money that they should have been paying you all along since you submitted that application. And so that could be in the form of a lump sum. And then of course, on the IRS side of things, you overpaid in taxes. The IRS calculated an overpayment. They send you a check saying you paid us a little bit too much and this is yours to do with what you will. And the IRS sends you a check. The Treasury sends you a check. So in these limited circumstances, the good news is if it's a Social Security lump sum payment and you're a Medicaid recipient in Florida, you have 9 months to spend the money. In other words, the money, that lump sum is not going to count against you, against your $2,000 asset limit, so long as you have spent it within the following 9 months of the month in which you receive that benefit. So now if it's a significant amount of money, you just have no idea how you're going to spend all that, then of course you call someone like me. We have some interesting ways of protecting lump sums the way we would for an inheritance or a personal injury settlement. But most people aren't going to get such a significant amount of money through a Social Security lump sum that they're not going to have the ability to spend it down in the next 9 months. So most people are going to be safe. Now you have to make sure if you have a renewal coming up, you report this, because if Medicaid sees you have now 20 grand sitting in your bank account where you're supposed to have $2,000, that can raise a red flag. But if you explain to them that no, this is a Social Security overpayment and here's the particular rule that says that's okay, and you can do that or we can do that, then there shouldn't be a problem. Now on the other side of the equation, if you're receiving a tax refund, good news is you have a year, you have 12 months from the date of receiving that tax refund to spend that money down. And again, same thing applies. If you don't think you're going to be able to spend it down in that time frame, we want to be able to come up with a plan, and that's something that we can help you do here. But most people aren't going to have a problem. You just want to make sure you promote it, you report it properly. Okay, so again, good news, if the lump sum payment you're getting is from the Social Security Administration on one side or the IRS through a tax refund on the other side, you got some time to figure out how to spend the money. If you're getting a lump sum payment from any other source, again, typically an inheritance, personal injury settlement, selling your home, we want to talk about, you don't have that time frame. We want to talk about what we need to do to make sure your benefits are protected. We have lots of great ways of doing that. Hope you found this useful. If you did, please share it, give it a thumbs up, help me get good information out to Floridians everywhere. Thank you for watching.